the question is, should a ger keep the laws of Sabbath? May they keep the laws of Sabbath? Is the person who is this person in the process of a conversion? Is that their destined? Is not their? So therefore, a person who does not intend to convert, they are not obligated to keep the Shabbos, and the consensus position is that we are to take Exodus 31 very seriously, and that is Shabbos in its observance of all the technical laws are only between God and Israel. And, so that's So a non-Jew could certainly keep Shabbos, but they would generally not keep it perfectly. There are some rabbis who feel that they should. I've heard that that some rabbis feel that there are that today that all the people who are drawn to the people of Israel should keep the Shabbos, and I've heard that recently. So, but in traditional Jewish literature, a Gentile that keeps all the laws of Shabbos is in violation of Exodus chapter 31 and so on. So, but again, in recent years, I've encountered a number of rabbis who say, people who are not Jewish and have no intention of becoming Jewish should also can also observe the Sabbath. So that I did the last time I was here say that what I understand is what I understand what's in the literature, and that is that a person who's not Jewish should not observe the Shabbos perfectly. As it turns out, observing Shabbos is so complicated. It really is. It's not complicated if you know what to do. If you don't know, it's unless you lay sitting on your bed and just don't move, you're almost certainly going to do something you don't even realize. You don't realize. And I sometimes wondered if maybe that was Hashem protecting Gentiles who seek to keep Shabbos, to making it so complex. Complex, not that you have to be a genius to know it, just if you don't know, because it's not work. Like, I can lift this up on Shabbos, carry it to the other side of the room, back and forth all day. I have not violated a thing. So it's not work or effort or anything. It's very specific types of behaviors. And it would just, if you just don't know, it would be, I think, just nearly impossible to observe Shabbos, unless you just didn't move. You just didn't move, and you had cold food in your bed and just sat there and just wore a diaper for 25 hours. So you have to know so much information, and maybe it is that complex. Maybe I never saw this written anywhere as a barrier to prevent Gentiles from B'nai Noach from observing the Shabbos. It doesn't, but don't conflate, please don't conflate celebrating Shabbos, rejoicing on Shabbos, do all those things on Shabbos, have a special Shabbos meal, all those things, do all that. Honor Shabbos in every way. And look what a great thing that Hashem did with the Jewish people. And you go, well, don't we have Shabbos back in Genesis chapter 2? Which is before the giving of the Torah, and that actually is the point. I encourage you to contrast Genesis 2 with the Ten Commandments, and what don't you have in Genesis chapter 2? We have Shabbos is sanctified. God stopped working He rested on the seventh day. He stopped all the creative activity on the seventh day, and God made it holy. That's Genesis 2. But you'll also find that in Exodus 20. You'll also find that in Exodus 31. But what don't you have in Genesis 2 that you do have in Exodus 31? You don't have Israel, okay, one, and something even so glaring. Right. Well, so let's make this simple. What does not exist in Genesis 2, which is held back, which we do find in Exodus 20 and 31. What is not there in Genesis 2? Bingo. There's no command in Genesis chapter 2 to observe the Torah. Just as God stopped working, He sanctified the day. But as Rabbi Federer just said, it doesn't, there is nothing that says you therefore have to observe the Shabbos because God observes Shabbos. Because what's happening in Genesis, God is forging a royal family. A royal family is a people who are a light to the nations, who are a witness people. And once you have a witness people, so then they can have Shabbos. And that's why on the other side of this, of finally producing a people, imperfect as they are, the 12 tribes, far from perfect. And we can see that in Genesis all over. We have a people that, but God is like, I can work with this. I cannot work with Esav. I can't work with Ishmael. But this group, every one of them has made mistakes, and those mistakes are highlighted in Genesis, right? Joseph's mistakes, Judah's mistakes, Reuven's many mistakes, but I can work with them. This is the group I can work with. And there's some people I can't. I just cannot work with them. So they can. Once that family, that priestly family, is then produced, we're now. Then Hashem says, okay, now we're going to the commandments of Shabbos. So it's very clear in the text that Hashem has sanctified Shabbos. Shabbos is holy with or without Israel. And it's not that Israel keeps the Shabbos, but more that Shabbos keeps and preserves the Jewish people. But if you look at the two sides of the coin, you talk about pre-Israel, and then after the royal family is formed, we have Shabbos holy, of course, but no command for anybody to keep it. As soon as you have the royal family, immediately, now we're talking about observance to the Jewish people. And it very does specifically say, in Exodus 31, look at the text, it's Beini uvein b'nei Israel, God is speaking, it's between me and the children of Israel. Osi liolam, it's an eternal covenant, okay? Kishesh is because on 6 days they created the world, and on the seventh they rested. So important was this to God that He did not want the nations to keep Shabbos, only the Jews.